Hi everyone. Today in this video we will discuss what is meant by Bernoulli's principle and which are the applications of Bernoulli's principle. So various applications of Bernoulli's principle are shown here. That is the movement of spinning ball, why aeroplanes and their wings are given that particular shape, and how a sprayer works. All those can be explained by using Bernoulli's principle. So Bernoulli's principle was derived by a Swiss physicist known as Daniel Bernoulli. Okay, and it is very simple. It is the law of conservation of energy itself. So what it says, for a streamlined fluid flow, the sum of the pressure energy, kinetic energy and potential energy per unit volume remains constant. So in the last video we discussed what is meant by pressure energy, kinetic energy and potential energy per unit volume. So we can show here that what it is, their sum is constant, that only. So mathematically we can write P plus half rho V square plus rho GH is equal to constant, where P is pressure, rho is density of the fluid, V is velocity, G is acceleration due to gravity and H is height. Or we can divide this entire equation by rho G. So RHS also will become constant by rho G. Rho is density is constant, acceleration due to gravity is constant. So again you will get another constant. So we can write it as P by rho G plus V square by 2G is equal plus H is equal to constant. And this P by rho G is pressure head, V square by 2G is velocity head and H is gravitational head. So we can write the sum of pressure head, velocity head and gravitational head remains constant in the streamlined flow of an ideal fluid. So either of the two statements you can write, whichever is convenient to you. Okay. So that is Bernoulli's principle. Now we are going to prove that Bernoulli's principle. For that we can see which are the assumptions. So the first assumption is that it is flowing through a pipe of varying diameter, and the pipe is located at different heights, changing height is that it is not a horizontal pipe. The pipe is having but varying height. Okay, it is not kept horizontally, and it is an incompressible fluid. So density remains same and flow is laminar. What is meant by laminar flow, that already we discussed in the last video. You can go through that. And last one is that no energy is lost due to friction, or it is applicable only to non-viscous fluid. So the last three properties we can say that, or last three assumptions is related to ideal fluid. Okay, so it is applicable only for ideal fluid. So here we are considering a pipe of varying height. So we can see the diagram. Okay. So here we are considering a pipe having different heights. So A and B, at positions A and B, you can see that cross-sectional areas, let it be A1 and A2, and velocities be V1 and V2. Since the cross-sectional areas are different, we can say that velocity is also different. So velocity at B will be more than velocity at A by, according to equation of continuity, AV is constant. Since cross-sectional area at B is smaller, velocity at B will be larger. And let P1 and P2 be the pressures, and H1 and H2 are the heights from the ground level. So when you are marking H1 and H2, that you have to show exactly from the center of the cross-section. Okay, is it clear? So now we will see how to prove Bernoulli's principle, that is basically law of conservation of energy itself. So here we are considering, even with all those we discussed. So we are considering that fluid is flowing a small distance delta, but fluid is flowing through that pipe. So during time delta t, it will travel a distance v1 delta t or v2 delta t. No? During a small interval of time delta t, that fluid will travel a distance v1 delta t at A and v2 delta t at B. Okay. So pressure, already we discussed, P1 and P2 are the pressures. So work done can be written as work done. This is very important. Here you can see that work at A, work is done on the fluid, and at B, work is done by the fluid. Okay. At A, work is done on the fluid, and at B, work is done by the fluid. So work done on the fluid is taken as positive, and work done by the fluid is taken as negative. So we can write here, work done on the fluid can be written as pressure into area, force into distance itself. Force can be written as pressure into area. So P1, A1, V1 delta T. Similarly, work done by the fluid can be written as P2 A2 V2 delta T. So V1 delta T or V2 delta T is the distance traveled. Okay. So net work done on the fluid can be written as work done on the fluid minus work done by the fluid. So that can be written as P1 A1 V1 delta T minus P2 A2 V2 delta T. Okay. And by equation of continuity, AV is constant. So instead of A1 V1, we can write it as A2 V2 also. So we can write it as A1 V1 delta P1 A1 V1 delta T minus P2 A1 V1 delta T, or A1 V1 delta T is the volume swept. So that we are writing it as delta V, or we can write it as P1 minus P2 into delta V. And we can find what is the change in kinetic energy. Change in kinetic energy can be written as delta K, that is equal to half m into V2 square minus V1 square. Already I told you V2 is greater than V1, that's why we are writing it as V2 square minus V1 square. Similarly, change in potential energy, that delta U is written as mg into H2 minus H1. So the total change in energy can be written as delta E is equal to delta K plus delta U, that is equal to half m into V2 square minus V1 square plus mg into H2 minus H1. Okay. And we know that density can be written as mass by volume, or mass equal to delta V. So mass equal to rho into V. Since during a small interval of time delta T, the small change in mass can be written as delta M is equal to rho delta V. So here in this expression, during a small interval of time that liquid is flowing. So instead of M everywhere we can write it as rho delta V. So total change in energy can be written as half rho delta V into V2 square minus V1 square plus rho delta V G into H2 minus H1. Okay. So there in that expression what we are doing, instead of M we are writing it as rho delta V itself. Then by using work energy theorem we can write work done is equal to sum of change in kinetic energy plus potential energy, or we can write it as P1 here. LHS stands for P1 minus P2 into delta V, that is work done, and RHS stands for sum of change in kinetic energy plus potential energy. So we can write P1 minus P2 into delta V is equal to half rho delta V into V2 square minus V1 square plus rho delta V G into H2 minus H1. For delta V can be cancelled, so we will get it as P1 minus P2 equal to half rho V2 square minus half rho V1 square plus rho G H2 minus rho G H1, or we can write it as P1 plus half rho V1 square plus rho G H1 is equal to P2 plus half rho V2 square plus rho G H2, or we can write it as P1, this all those stands for pressure energy, kinetic energy, potential energy per unit volume at A is equal to sum of pressure energy, kinetic energy and potential energy per unit volume at B, or we can write it as P plus half rho V square plus rho GH is equal to constant, which is the statement that is sum of kinetic energy, potential energy and pressure energy per unit volume remains constant. Or if we are dividing it that expression by rho G, we will get it as P by rho G plus V square by 2G plus H is equal to constant. That is sum of pressure head, velocity head and gravitational head remains constant for an ideal fluid. That is Bernoulli's principle. Okay, is it clear? So this statement is very important. So when you are writing the statement also, that ideal fluid that you have to mention. Okay, and now we will see the applications. So first one is Torricelli's law of efflux. So here we are considering water or any liquid in a tank. So A1, here you can see the diagram. A1 is the area of the slit through which that water is flowing, through which that fluid is flowing, and A2 is the area of the topmost surface. And V1 is the velocity with which the fluid is flowing, and V2 is the velocity of the fluid at the free surface. So from the figure, we know that according to equation of continuity, we can write A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. And from the figure, it is clear that A2 is much greater than A1. If A2 is much greater than A1, we can conclude that V2 will be much less than V1. Or in other words, we can say that fluid is at rest. Okay, on the top surface. In a tank, you might have seen if water is coming from the lowermost portion of that tank, the uppermost surface will almost it will be at rest. No? So we can write V2 is equal to 0. And by applying Bernoulli's principle, according to Bernoulli's principle, we know that P plus half rho V square plus rho GH is equal to constant. So we can apply Bernoulli's principle to the slit. So here we will get it as PA. Why it is PA? The slit is open to atmosphere. So pressure at that slit will be PA plus half rho V1 square plus rho G Y1, because Y1 is the height of the slit from the reference level or ground level. Okay. Same way we can apply Bernoulli's principle to the surface, topmost surface. So there we can write it as what? Rho G Y2 plus P. No. Velocity at the topmost surface is 0. So according to Bernoulli's principle, we can write what it is. Sum of kinetic energy, potential energy, pressure energy per unit volume at a slit and at the surface should be same. So PA plus half rho V1 square plus rho G Y1 equal to P plus rho G Y2, where P is the pressure at the topmost surface. Or we can write half rho V1 square is equal to, we are rearranging that expression, P minus PA plus rho G into Y2 minus Y1. So Y2 minus Y1, Y2 means the height of the topmost surface from the ground level. So Y2 minus Y1 we are writing it as H. So we will get it as P minus PA plus rho GH. Or V1 square can be written as 2 by rho into P minus PA plus rho GH. Or V1 is equal to root of 2 by rho into P minus PA plus rho GH. Okay. So this is the velocity with which the fluid is coming out through that slit. Okay. Now different cases we are considering when the vessel is not closed, if it is open to atmosphere. So in that case what happens? P is equal to PA. So what you will get? If P is equal to PA, that first term will become 0. So what you will get? You will get it as velocity is equal to root of 2gh, rho will get cancelled. No? So V1 is equal to root of 2gh. So this is the speed of a freely falling body. When a body is falling under gravity from a height h, velocity is given by root of 2gh. And this is known as Torricelli's law, that is, which states that the speed by which the fluid is flowing out of a small slit of a container is same as the velocity of a freely falling body. So if the tank is kept open, so velocity with which the liquid is coming through the slit will be equal to the velocity of a body which is falling under gravity, and that is known as Torricelli's law of efflux. Next case we are considering tank is not open to atmosphere. P is much greater than PA. So the second term can be ignored. No, 2gh will be small. So in that case we will get it as velocity is equal to root of 2p by rho. So the velocity with which the fluid will come out of the container is determined by the pressure at the free surface of the fluid alone. In this case we can say this velocity with which it is coming depends only on the pressure, topmost pressure. Okay. Is it clear? And now we will see another application, that is blood flow and heart attack. So you may think that what is the relation between blood flow and heart attack in physics? So that here we are going to discuss that. You may think that it is only related to biology. It's not so. It can be related with physics also. So how that only we are going to discuss now. So in persons suffering with advanced heart condition, the artery gets constricted due to the accumulation of plaque on its inner wall. So here you can see that plaques are created because of this artery get constricted. So in order to drive the blood through this constriction, a greater activity of the heart is required. But as the artery get constricted, it has to exert more pressure by which that blood can flow through this. The speed of the flow of the blood in this region is raised. Cross-sectional area becomes small because the plaque is getting accumulated automatically. Cross-sectional area smaller means velocity will be larger. No. So the speed of the flow of the blood in this region is raised, which lowers the pressure inside. So pressure in the artery gets reduced automatically. Outside pressure will be larger. No. Because of that, artery may collapse due to this external pressure. So what heart will do? Heart exerts further pressure to open this artery and forces the blood through. As the blood rushes through the opening, again internal pressure once again reduces. So because of this, but the internal pressure drops, leading to a repeat collapse, and that may result in heart attack. Okay, so we can say that heart attack is also an application of Bernoulli's principle. Okay. Next one is Venturi meter. It is a device used to measure the flow of incompressible fluid or liquid. We can measure the flow, rate of flow that can be measured by using Venturi meter. So here you can see that it consists of a tube with a broad diameter having a larger cross-sectional area, and there is a small constriction in the middle. You can see that. And A1 and A2 are the cross-sectional areas. Density of the fluid is rho and density, and it is attached to a U-tube manometer. Already we discussed what is a function of U-tube manometer. One end of the manometer is connected to the constriction and the other end is connected to the broader end of the Venturi meter, and it contains a liquid having density rho m. U-tube contains a liquid which is having density rho into m. A1, A2 cross-sectional area, V1, V2 velocities already we discussed. So according to equation of continuity, we can write AV is equal, but A cross-sectional area into velocity is constant. So wherever area is more, velocity will be less, and wherever area is less, velocity will be more. And pressure is inversely proportional to area. So pressure P1 is less as compared to P2. So P1 is less than P2, so we can write V1 will be greater than V2. As there is difference in the pressure in the fluid, as the fluid moves, this movement of the fluid is marked by the level of the fluid increase at one end of that U-tube. No? Because of this difference in pressure, there will be the U-tube, there also there will be difference in the level of the fluid. So how to find the speed, fluid speed? So equation of continuity, we know A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. So V2 can be written as A1 by A2 into V1, that we can substitute in Bernoulli's equation. So P1 plus half rho V1 square plus rho GH equal to P2 plus half rho V2 square plus rho GH. Okay, here P2 is also there. Okay. So here H can be neglected because it is on the same horizontal level. So we can write P1 minus P2 is equal to half rho V into V2 square minus V1 square, or half rho into A1 square by A2 square into V1 square minus V1 square. Instead of V2, we are substituting it as A1 by A2 into V1. Okay. Is it clear? And V1 square is taken common. So what you will get, half rho V1 square into A1 square by A2 square minus 1. So as there is difference in pressure, but because of the difference in pressure, the level of the fluid in the U-tube changes. So we can write it as P1 minus P2 can be written as H rho m into G. And what is H? The difference in height of the liquid which is taken in the manometer. Okay. So H rho m into G, and rho m is the density of the fluid inside the manometer. Rho is the density of the liquid which is flowing through this Venturi meter, and rho m is the density of the liquid in the manometer. So we can equate that. So what you will get, half rho V1 square into A1 square by A2 square minus 1 equal to H rho m into G, or V1 can be found out by this expression. Okay, you can simplify it and you can find it. And another application is perfume sprayer, okay, or atomizer. So here what happens, if you are pressing the topmost surface, either you are compressing or some balloon type that will be there. So if you are compressing that one, what happens there? Pressure will be there, less, no? And just below, just above that liquid where it is there, pressure will be more. So topmost surface pressure will be less, and here what happens, just below that one where on the topmost surface pressure will be less, and inside the sprayer bottle pressure will be more. Because of the difference in pressure, liquid comes out, and when it comes out it collides with the air there, and it comes as but small drops and those. Okay, so difference in pressure between the top and bottom of the tube draws the perfume upward. So this is another application of Bernoulli's principle. So wherever pressure is less, and difference in, because of the difference in pressure, the liquid comes out. Okay. And another application is in Magnus effect, that is why a spinning ball deviates from its actual path. That can be explained also by Bernoulli's principle. So this dynamic lift by virtue of spinning is known as Magnus effect. Okay, dynamic lift, that is there will be an upward motion by which or that spinning ball deviates from actual path, and that is known as Magnus effect. So it is a special name given to dynamic lift by virtue of spinning. So in the case of spinning of a ball, when the ball is not spinning, what happens? The ball moves in the air, it does not spin. The velocity of the top and bottom will be same. Since there is no difference in velocity, there will not be difference in pressure, so there will not be any dynamic lift. But when the ball is moving in the air as well as spinning, if it is moving and it is spinning, so what happens? The ball spins, as the ball spins, it drags the air above it. So what happens? Velocity above the ball is more and velocity below the ball will be less. So velocity will be less below and velocity above will be more. So if velocity is less, we can say pressure will be more and topmost velocity pressure will be less. So because of this difference in pressure, what happens? It will move from high pressure region to low pressure region. So because of the difference in pressure, there is an upward force, and that is known as dynamic lift. And the same can be applicable for aerofoil. Okay, why the wings of the aeroplane has given this particular shape, and that particular shape is known as aerofoil. So dynamic lift holds great importance in many fields such as aerodynamics and many ball sports. So dynamic lift is given consideration while designing the rotor ships and airplanes. So when the aerofoil moves against the wind, the orientation of the wing, so aerofoil means that particular special shaped object is known as aerofoil. Okay. So the orientation of the wing relative to flow direction causes the streamlines to crowd together above the wing more than the below. So when the streamlines coming together, their high speed will be there. So automatically we can say that above that high speed will be there, because of which pressure will be less, and below the aerofoil speed will be low and increased pressure will be there. Because of this difference in pressure, there will be an upward lift will be there. Okay, thus an upward force results in the dynamic lift of the wings. So Magnus effect find its application in advanced exterior ballistics or external ballistics that deals with the behavior of a projectile in the flight. Okay, and next we will discuss why are the roofs of some houses blown off during a storm. So you might have seen in movies or in this one news channel, sometimes you might have seen only the roof of the house will be blown off. Okay, the entire remaining part will remain as such, only but roof will be blown off. What happens or why is so? Because when the wind is blowing, we can say that outside velocity of the wind is larger, so we can say pressure will be less. And inside the room, what happens? Pressure will be more. So the high wind blowing over the roof creates a low pressure in accordance with Bernoulli's principle. So the pressure below the roof is equal to atmospheric pressure, which will be larger than the pressure above the roof, because above the roof, since wind is blowing, pressure will be less. So this difference of pressure causes an upward thrust and the roof is lifted up. Because of this difference in pressure, there will be an upward thrust and the roof will be lifted up. And once the roof is lifted up, it is blown off with the wind along its direction. Okay, is it clear? So in this way, we can say that the roofs of some houses are blown off during a windstorm. So we can see that here this Bernoulli's principle has lot of application in our daily life, and this is very important concept. You have to study, and that derivation is very important. Bernoulli's principle derivation, Venturi meter expression, Torricelli's law, all these derivations are equally important. You have to derive by writing and practice it. Okay, I hope all of you understood. Thank you.